out.
It's no excuse.
Don't say you supposed to be back in timeout. I didn't say get out. You and Jayla in timeout.
Well, let me tell you this, Linda.
My name ain't Linda. So you sit right there in timeout, little bad little girl.
No, let me tell you something.
No, don't tell me.
If I wasn't here, I would surely take a day off from you and then a day off from these kids.
Hi guys, this is Old School Will again. I decided I was going to change my format up a little and get really serious about some of the things I'm going to talk about. Today we're going to talk about where do we go wrong raising our kids. But first of all, let me give you a little background on myself. I have been in law enforcement for over 43 years, finally retired, and decided to share a lot of that knowledge that I gathered throughout those 4 decades. What I'm seeing today, as far as our kids, our youth, our youngsters, is shocking. Our kids are like sheep in the wilderness, they're lost. Our parents also are like sheep in the wilderness, they're lost. We don't know how to raise our kids, because if we did, there wouldn't be so many of them expiring. There wouldn't be so many of them joining gangs. There wouldn't be so many of them dropping out of school. There wouldn't be so many of them being totally disrespectful, not only to their loved ones, but to themselves. I don't know if we're going to ever be able to rectify this problem. In all honesty, I don't see it happening. I really don't. Our laws that we impose are more against us raising our kids than it is trying to raise them the proper way. On today's video, if you're weak-hearted, don't watch this video. If you are not open-minded, don't watch this video. I have no problem with your comments, positive or negative. That's your choice. But all I can do is portray to you what reality actually is and not what you perceive it to be. There are too many kids joining gangs, being incarcerated, or in the grave. I don't know what the solution is. Politicians have just taken over our entire lives. And we sit back like a bunch of sheep in the wilderness, not doing a darn thing about it, while our kids are lost, while we as parents are lost. It appears that we're afraid to discipline our kids because of what could possibly happen to us, as far as being incarcerated, by discipline our kids or trying to guide them in the right directions. With all that said, as I said before, don't be shocked by some of the videos you're about to see, because this is reality. Forget about all that other nonsense. If you love your child, if you love your grandchildren, you are going to have to take control of them in one way or another. I couldn't help but feel sorry for a lot of the kids that I did research on these videos. But if you want to comment, you tell me what the solution is, because after 4 decades, there's still not one. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get into the video. It's not for enjoyment, it's for education. So if you're here for your enjoyment or think this is funny, just imagine if that was your child. Let's get started.
As no one's
Don't say it. You supposed to be back in timeout. I didn't say get out. You and Jayla in timeout.
Well, let me tell you this, Linda.
My name ain't Linda. So you sit right there in timeout, little bad little girl.
No, let me tell you something.
No,
If
don't tell me.
I wasn't here, I would surely take a day off from you and then a day off from these kids.
You know, this is extremely sad. This little beautiful little girl is being brought up to totally disrespect adults. If you look at her demeanor and the way she's talking exactly like an adult. I don't know who it could be. If it could be her mom or grandmother or even a friend. But this is how it gets started. When you don't raise your child the right way, this is the end result. As I stated before, kids are like sponges. They pick up every word and every habit that you say or do. And another thing that is really disturbing is whoever made this video, they made it out to be a comedy, because I'm listening to the laughter in the background as though this is funny. Folks, this is the beginning. And with this little girl learning to totally disrespect her daycare teacher, it's really amazing.
I'm around the classroom. I'm as done with you.
I'm done with you too, but you in timeout.
Oh, let me tell you something, honey. This is not going.
You're gonna be in timeout.
Oh,
That's why you in timeout right now.
I think so.
I think so.
Well, when I get up out of town and go to bed, I will be glad to go home and enjoy the rest of my life.
Another thing about that video, it appears that this little young kid was she was taught to say these things, because I'm wondering about who's videoing this. I mean, folks, this little girl is not going to forget talking like this. She's going to carry this on through her entire life.
Sit down.
No! I'm trying my stuff, girl. Yo, Mom, fuck trying my stuff, bitch.
Don't
Oh,
touch
shoot, girl. Fuck trying my stuff. It just flopped me, girl.
stuff for the ready.
Okay, listen to the words that this kid is saying. He just called his I guess that's his mom, the B word. He just flashed up gang signs. In the short, he's going to slap his grandmother. I think that just might be his grandmother. And all the mom could be concerned about, if that is a mother, is the grandmother embarrassing her. And listen to what she calls the little boy or her son, if that's who this is.
Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting?
Don't record.
Roast dog.
It's a fit.
Stop doing that.
No, I'm fucking out. It's fucking embarrassing. Look at all these fucking people laughing. Is that fucking embarrassing? Bitch, the fuck? Look at my food.
She just cursed out her grandmother just right there. If you heard that, she said that she was embarrassing her. And listen to what she says to her son.
Oh, yo!
This kid took a swing at his grandmother like he's a prize boxer. So it kind of makes me wonder who else is in that household that's teaching this kid to behave like this and flash gang signs and curse out adults and spit on them.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. And you got your food there, okay?
You go so Mom. It's not correct. Mom.
Stop.
If you notice, he just used the word crip, so that kind of tells you there's a male in this household somewhere that's teaching this kid to be the upcoming and future gangster, or who knows.
Stop spitting, because I'm going to hurt you. Stop. You think it's funny? Everybody thinks it's funny. You think it's funny? Everybody thinks it's not funny.
It is embarrassing.
You don't understand why you're fucking idiots.
Well, you idiot.
I'm not an idiot.
Fuck, I want you to.
Embarrassing. Give me the.
Okay guys, so I wanted to share this video, but the only way I could share it was through editing it. So this happened at a Walmart, and what we know is this could be the grandma, and this child is acting out, and the gentleman in the blue tries to step in by trying to help stop her. It didn't work. She threw stuff at him, insulting him, and the grandma seems like she couldn't take control. Now here's a question: if you were in public and you were to see a child like this act out and be aggressive towards a family member that she's with, or a grandma like she is here, it looks like that's a grandma, what would you do? Would you step in to try to correct her or help out or stop her like some of the people on here that tried? There's others that just walk by and walk through, ignoring the whole thing. And here she is. And you'll see right now that she throws something at the man in the blue, hitting him. So again, my question is, if you were in public and you were to see a child like this act out, violently aggressive, would you step in to try to help, try to calm her down, or try to talk her out of it, or try to help, or would you walk away? This other lady in the white also tried to tell her to stop, that she was doing wrong, to stop it, that she needed a blank, blah, blah, blah. And what did she do? She insulted her by calling her names.
In this situation, this little girl seems like she may have other issues going there. It's apparent that if that's the grandmother, she's afraid of her, because if you notice how she backed away from her when she started throwing things. And also, 9 times out of 10, people aren't going to get involved because they don't want to have anything to do with civil litigation or even possible criminal problems that may ensue in something like this. I know a lot of folks say, well, we shouldn't restrain the child, but what if this child gets even worse and just start tearing up the entire store? It appears like this was at Walmart. And it's really sad that she can stand there and assault. And that was an assault when she threw that object and hit that guy with it, and also destroying property. Those are criminal offenses, folks, by the way, in case some of you may have forgotten. This is not cute at all.
And telling her bad things. So again, what would you do if you were to see this in public?
First of all, this appears to be a skit, but what the father has to say and the way he's trying to instill in his son what's going to happen when he goes down a gang life, it's really hard. It's heart-wrenching, because he's trying to instill some facts into his son's brain, that by being in a gang, and also the Bloods, what that thing represents, he's in for worlds of trouble.
What, Dad? That's really far away.
You want to tell me what this is? You.
Man, I don't know, Dad. I'm just out here having
Down
fun.
out there pulling skits. Out there. Flu flaming everything. What you think gonna happen to you, son? Remember, son, it's chess, not checkers. Any move you make will affect the next few seconds of your life. So I want you.
You know, whether this is a skit or not, this father he's hitting 100 on this because he's telling his son exactly what's going to occur. And in everyday life, he's telling the truth. One or two things going to happen. You're going to wind up going to the wrong place, or you're going to wind up in jail. And it's up to you. Once a kid reaches a certain age, parents can no longer control them. They're on their own to go out there and make their own decisions. And a lot of times they make the wrong decision that will cost them in the end. Once you get it put into the system, you're there for the rest of your life. Once you receive that spin number, well, no matter how minor it is or how major it is, you're in the system for life. So if you decide you want to go to college or become a professor or even a policeman, they're going to look at your background history, and guess what? All of that stuff is going to be brought up. And then guess where are you going to go? You can probably miss out on a job. You can probably miss out on that college degree or whatever your ambitions may be. So you have to understand, parents, what the decision your child makes today is going to affect him tomorrow. I'm sorry on this one. You kind of wonder who is the parent. The kid seems like he has more sense than the mother has, because I don't get it. There's more to this story than it seems like it's being portrayed on this one. The bad part of this is she's trying to take control of this child right now, and she's already lost him. She should have done that a long time ago. Kid is really hurting inside also. But ladies, you are the ones out there, if you're in a dating situation and you get in an abusive relationship, this is how it gets started. If a kid can slap his mom at a young age like this, you can imagine what's going to happen later on in life. I'm not saying it's going to happen in this case, but it's giving you some insight as to how this begins.
It's tough enough to go to prison, but even more so when you're just a kid. Here are some teenagers reacting to receiving life sentences. Jacob Morgan. Jacob Matthew Morgan was an autistic 17-year-old boy who pleaded guilty to starting a fire that killed his 14-month-old brother, Joshua Hill. Despite his mom and stepfather believing in his innocence, he received a 15-year prison sentence. Here he is praying as the judge reads out the verdict. TJ Lane. TJ Lane was only 17 when he opened fire and killed 3 students and injured 3 others in his school cafeteria. During his trial, he showed no remorse and even wore a t-shirt that said killer, and even gave the victims' families the middle finger. He was sentenced to life without a chance of parole. John Freeman. 17-year-old John Freeman was in tears as he begged for forgiveness for strangling 5-year-old Isabella Tennant to death while he was babysitting her. For this merciless act, he was charged with second-degree murder, which he pled guilty to, and was sentenced to 25 years to life. Dylan Schumacher.
I didn't mean to hurt him.
Dylan Schumacher was only 16 years old when he brutally beat his girlfriend's 23-month-old son, Austin Smith, to death while the baby's mother was out working. He was found guilty of second-degree murder and given 25 years to life in prison. Dexter Johnson. With 4 other teens, Dexter Johnson robbed young couple Maria Apareche and Hui Ngo, who was parked just outside Ngo's house. They took them to a secluded area where Johnson raped Apareche and another teen shot the victims. He flew into a rage after being sentenced to death. Samantha Grigg. 18-year-old Samantha Grigg had a promising future as a singer when she conspired with 2 men to rob university student Dustin Frolker. They drove Frolker around ATMs and they beat him up, after which Frolker left the moving car and died.
He was a fellow musician. It really breaks my heart.
Grigg pleaded guilty and received 6 to 15 years in prison. Kyandria Cook. 18-year-old Kyandria Cook used a dating app to set up a car robbery that led to the shooting of another teen. As the judge read out her 20-year sentence, Cook's mother cried hysterically and dropped to the floor, which in turn made Cook emotional too. Erica Mae Butts. Erica Mae Butts wailed and hyperventilated after she was sentenced to life with her girlfriend for murdering a 3-year-old girl named Serenity Richardson in 2009. Serenity was Butts' goddaughter, who was vacationing with her and her lover, who had a potty accident and was beaten up for it. Antonio Barbeau. Antonio Barbeau was only 13 years old when he bludgeoned his 78-year-old great-grandmother with a hatchet and a hammer to death for money. 15 years old at the time of his sentencing, Barbeau was in tears after finding out he was sentenced to 37 years to life life. His earliest possible release would be in 2048. Fernando Salgado. In 2012, 18-year-old Fernando Salgado attempted to sodomize another student as part of an alleged hazing scandal and was charged with sexual assault. During his sentencing, he hysterically fought off police officers after the judge ordered him to remain in jail unless he paid the $300,000 bail. Nicholas Lindsay. 16-year-old Nicholas Lindsay lived a double life as a goal-oriented student and a gang member who committed grand theft and trespassing when he shot a police officer multiple times at close range. As he was sentenced to life for the murder of a law enforcement officer, he just grinned nonchalantly. Philip Chisholm. Philip Chisholm believed being a mere 16-year-old and crying in front of the judge would spare him a grave punishment for his grisly crime, but it did little to lighten his sentence. He was convicted of raping and murdering his 24-year-old math teacher Colleen Ritzer and sentenced to 65 years to life in prison. Shondell Jackson. 19-year-old Shondell Jackson was convicted of first-degree intentional homicide and robbery of 21-year-old student Nathan Potter. During his trial, he shot an angry look at the victim's family and cursed at the judge who read his life sentence.
This is your chance. We're not going to have this conversation like this again. If I do, you know what's going to happen, correct?
Come back here.
Huh? Yes, sir. You ought to respect your mother. You ought to respect your auntie. You ought to respect every person in this home. If I hear that you've done this foolishness again to bring danger and harm to your family and to these kids and to your mama, there's no more talking. Yes, sir. You got it? Yes, sir. You want to stay in this house tonight? Yes, sir. Have we got a firm understanding? Yes, sir. You sure about that? Yes, sir.
There's 3 levels of prisons, and when you do it on adults, there's a county jail. If you get arrested right now for stealing a car, you're going to the county jail. If you get arrested for murdering somebody, you're going to the county jail. If you get arrested for breaking in the house, you're going to the county jail. During your time in the county jail might be anywhere from 1 day to 2 years. You're going to wait trial. At the end of that trial, they might give you 20 years. You won't do that in the county jail. You go to state penitentiary. So there's a county jail where the homeless people go and they commit minor offenses. They'll go there for 1 week, 2 weeks, they bail out when they get kicked out. But once you get convicted of a serious offense, you go to state prison anywhere from 1 day to life. Then there's the federal prison system, which is a little bit more complicated to get into. But
nobody is county,
state, federal.
In state, you can spend from
1 day to life.
1 day to life.
If you murder somebody, there's a good chance you're going to die in jail.
Okay, folks, if you made it to the end of the video, if you noticed that just about everything you see these kids do or say, you can probably reflect back to where they picked up those words from. They either picked them up from their parents, they saw what their parents did or are doing, or their friends, or the people that they're around them. Kids are like sponges. They pick up habits like a tape recorder, and then they play them back to you. And a lot of the, in some of the video where the kid slapped his mother, he was trying to explain to her how he got to that point. If you notice a kid that, a real young kid that slapped his grandmother, he was cursing out his real mother who was sitting on the other side of the table, who had no interjection whatsoever. She didn't know what to do because she was so young herself. If we don't take control, folks, there are 3 types of jail systems. It's regular jail, state jail, federal jail, or federal prison. And another thing you have to understand too, once you are entered into the system, you will be out of tens of thousands of dollars trying to rectify your problem or your child's problem, from hiring an attorney to paying whatever he needs while he's incarcerated. So the question is, what are you going to do? Do we need to enact more laws, or do we need to retract a lot of these nonsense laws that we have that's keeping us from governing, or keeping us from taking control of our kids? I have never said that beating a kid is right. Never. But there's not enough disciplining our children at all. They take our same habits that we have. They take them to school with them. Then the teachers have to deal with them. A lot of liberals, I've seen on a lot of these social media sites, they said police officers are too hard on kids when they try to restrain them. So my question to you is, what do you suggest when you have a child that's totally out of control? I'm not saying all 100% of them are right, by no means. But to keep that child from hurting himself, others, he or she has to be restrained one way or another to regain control. So if you folks have a better solution, let us know what it is. I would really like to know that. I'm not here to bash anyone. I'm a realist. We need to resolve these issues once and for all. If not, we're going to lose the entire generation, and then the next generation, and then the next generation, because this is not going to end. So, if you like what this discussion was about, please comment. I want to hear your comments. Please like and subscribe so I can continue putting out facts and not fiction. Because what I'm saying, we need help. This is Old School Will. Thanks for watching.